Howdy doody party people. MangoTownMatt in the house. MangoTownTravis here as well. We are more or less finished with our drafts variants. We have played just about everything, barring a few variants on websites that you have to pay to play on. I'm not about that life. We're going to be playing anti-breakthrough today. Now remember that standard breakthrough is trying to get to the other side first, which means that if you accidentally get to the other side first, you lose. Alternatively, it would also mean that if you get all of your pieces taken, you also...
Also, if anyone knows of any checker websites,
Yes.
please feel free to let us know.
Yes, if you have any leads on checker websites, draft websites, send them along so that we can play even more. I don't know what we're gonna do when we I guess we'll just go back and play them all again.
Go beat the board games for a little bit.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we gotta re-up on some of those. But let's go ahead and get started. Alright,
So if you make it to the other side, you have lost the game.
Yep. Also crazy, we'll have some live streams coming up where MangoTownTravis and I are both
In the same place.
in the same place at the same time. It's gonna be wild, folks. How'd you sleep last night, Travis?
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Let's see.
So
You need to make it as in. So yeah, I'm still trying to lose my pieces too.
Yeah.
Anti.
Yeah.
And you we'll have to resign like before the breakthrough.
Yeah. Don't worry though, I said the game is casual, so we shouldn't run into any so I figured out, Travis, that when I come home after being gone at work, or if I go out to run some errands or something, Gigi, if I like sit down on the couch, Gigi will hop up on my lap and will like let me pet her and will be real sweet. And so I've started doing that when I get home because it's nice to feel loved. And how it started happening yesterday is she'll climb up onto my lap. She'll let me pet her for like 5-10 minutes. And then she like does either like the Watson lay where she like stretches out on me and goes to sleep, or she'll like straddle one of my legs and fall asleep. And then it's like,
Watson tried jumping up on me yesterday and wasn't successful and just like clogged my leg.
Oh no, I hate it when that happens.
I'm trying to save myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, that's the worst. Gigi's been... Did I tell you last week that Gigi's been spreading out more and more on the bed?
Yeah.
Because I guess because it started getting hot. She's just started spreading out like way more. So it's like she'll be spread out across the entire end of our bed, on my end of the bed, of course. And last night she started doing it vertically. So I was like sleeping on 1/3 of the bed instead of my half of the bed.
Yeah, Watson's gets in a corner. He usually sleeps like on my chest or in the corner.
Nice. I went to I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that I had some stitches because I had that cyst removed.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the. I don't think I told you this story yet. I went back for like a checkup last week. The lady was like, "Okay, do you speak Bosnian?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we go back, and she's like looking over everything. And the very first question she asks me, I have like no idea what she asked me. And I was just like, yes. But of course she was asking me like, can you show me where the stitches are? And I was like, great. She laughed in my face. It was pretty funny. Well, I'm pink today, y'all. Oof. Heat is not a good look on me. Has it been real hot in Virginia?
It's not enough. I've been outside since Sunday.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Man, I don't blame you at all. It's been like in the 80s here. Which isn't too bad, like if you're inside in your apartment, but is definitely worse if I went to get my stitches checked out one last time today, and they were like, "Oh, they're great, they'll dissolve. It's not a problem. Goodbye." Like went to the bank and exchanged some money, and then I'm like, I'll get on a tram. I'll go home, and the tram's lost electricity, so I got to walk like I don't know, like 3K.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Take me away, Travis.
I've been pretty stuck back here, so now I can at least move up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you're ahead of checker.
I got everything set for Gigi to fly.
Nice.
Yeah. Hoping that all goes smoothly. It should.
You have to give her anything?
Nah, she's actually too young. I mean, the vet here was like, well, we have some herbal remedies that we can give her, man, but if she's not 5 kilograms, we can't give it to her, brother. And I was like, well, she's 2.5 kilograms, so thanks, but no thanks. So, Gigi's gonna have to just deal with her. I mean, luckily the carrying case I have for her is like well below the dimensions that they like max out at. But what's good is that is luckily
That's where I was at, yeah.
yeah. Luckily she's she'll have enough room either way. No.
You don't have to move there.
Yeah, well, I don't have to move anymore, so at least there's that. Drinking some mate, for those of you all who are wondering what in the world I'm sipping through a metal straw. Delicious.
Oh, man. Okay, this is being risky.
Risque.
It does show up a lot, but it might mean that you have to move your last one if you have 0 checkers left.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a fool. Yeah, definitely. It'd be funny to watch somebody who's not either one of us and isn't watching the stream. Be like, "Oh, I wonder how these guys are doing at Breakthrough," and then they're like, "Oh my god."
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that corner. Oh, no.
Aw, dang. Wow. All right, Travis. Breaking out the big conversation topics. And this week's topic is, what are your thoughts on the resurfacing of all the discussion about the migrant camps, and then basically, I mean, obviously, all right, okay, to be as neutral as possible, let's frame this for everybody. God, that was so sneaky, Travis. Ooh, gotta remember that in the future.
What?
The move that you just did, because I just took 3 of your checkers with a single checker.
Oh, yeah.
The right, for the most part, from what I've read and heard, believes that the migrants deserve to be in camps more or less because they broke laws, whatever. The left has, by and large, been calling them concentration camps based on the poor conditions that have come to light as a result of senators and congresspeople. I'm not sure which it is exactly going and actually seeing some of these centers. I know there was one center in particular that was only supposed to have like room for like 195, but ended up having like 700.
I know we had talked about this before when like the issue first came up.
Yeah, we talked about it when the issue first came up, but I'm interested as to what your thoughts are on it coming up again.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to.
Yeah, it certainly is not an easy conversation either way. I mean,
I don't like. As far as the breaking the law part, like as it like quotes. No, yeah, quote in quote. I don't know. Not me saying this, but like,
yeah,
they should be in jail or whatever for coming across. Like, I don't know. I think I mentioned this last time, but like, we have like our laws, and then how we enforce the laws.
Yeah.
And then like, if we even like bat an eye towards the law. I mean, there's like.
Yeah, there's a pretty big discrepancy between like what the law says and how it's enforced in America.
Yeah.
At certain times.
And then even to like the severity, I guess, that it's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enforced.
And I think another important point of the whole conversation is that there are definitely migrants coming across who are seeking asylum.
Yeah, and
and they're getting put in these camps, but like that's how you have to more or less like illegally enter a country to seek asylum.
Yeah, but I don't know if when you're seeking asylum, if that's legal, because like,
right,
seeking like that's to seek asylum. I don't think is an illegal act. I mean, I guess, but I don't know if breaking the border for an asylum is an illegal act. I'm not sure how that lies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's another good example of where like what's written and what's enforced differs pretty widely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this came up like initially, but definitely needs to keep being harped on. I think the like lack of screening on who becomes ICE agents and like border patrol and stuff needs to really be looked at again.
Yeah, they were like militiamen arrested for
Yeah.
pretending to be migrants.
Yeah, they took a bunch of migrants captive. Yeah, that was crazy.
Obviously, I disagree with the conditions. I mean, I don't know. I didn't look up this report much, but there was a report that was saying like, at least the Taliban gave me toothpaste.
It was Somali pirates, wasn't it?
Somali. I thought it was like they were.
I would not be surprised if it was also the Taliban. But I also saw one floating around. The guy was on Joe Rogan, who he was a journalist for BBC who got captured by Somali pirates.
I don't know. I saw that.
And he got captured by Somali pirates, and it was like, well, even the Somali pirates gave me toothpaste. And it was like, yeah, well, it's pretty crazy to think about. Yeah, I mean, I think there's also an issue with them being in like the regions that they're in. And the whole process of how it's being handled, I think, is somewhat of an issue as well. But it's hard too. What's also really hard is that like the only information we get is secondhand, right? So it could be like so much worse.
Yeah.
Than it actually seems. Definitely concerning. But I was glad to see that all like people making a fuss over oh god damn it.
I didn't see the backwards one. I thought you'd have had to capture the front one. And yep, that's that. Oh, no,
I was glad to see that people made a difference by actually complaining and shit. About the one camp that was like only supposed to hold 195 people, but turns out to be at like 700.
Oh wow.
But they all I know is that all that's basically been said publicly is like, oh, they were moved.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's tricky about that is that who knows where they were moved.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I'm gonna pivot slightly to a different topic now. There's a guy who's involved to some degree with climate science who said that he's basically worried that there's going to be like a climate apartheid, meaning that like if you're ultra rich, you get to live somewhere where it's nice, and if you're not, you fucking suffer.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a feasible possibility? And if it is, what do you think the consequences of something like that would be?
Did I ask you about the flood? Do you think? I think I asked someone do you think massive amount of people will have to move away from the coast?
I don't know if you did ask me that, but I think they will. I think they absolutely will. And I think it's going to be a matter of whether it's like forced by like a huge disaster, or whether it becomes more of a like creep scenario. What? Get out of here. That's not what I intended to do. I get my lefts and my rights mixed up.
I think just from a lot of flooding, maybe.
Yeah, that as well. I think a lot of flooding will be more in areas with rivers and maybe coastal basins. But I mean like cities like Hong Kong, cities like Miami.
I'm thinking most of the coast, well, all of Florida, most of the coastlines.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think what's going to be hard is that there's going to be lots of like rapid acceleration at a certain point. So that gets pretty crazy to think about. Yeah, but when I was reading about like climate apartheid, I was kind of thinking like, man, there can't be that many ultra rich people.
I'm pretty sure 48 people hold half the world's wealth.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, right? So, like, 48 people moved to New Zealand and kill everybody else there. Like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what the ultra rich is, like what percent.
That's a good point, yeah.
But I mean, you need enough money to move when everyone else wants to move.
Yeah.
And move to I'm guessing the best location.
Oh, trust me, I did not want to have to capture your piece.
Well, I don't know if I want to because, we like the last game, we both have to move.
Yeah.
I think I should have made you capture.
If you'd made me capture, though, I could have done that, and then you would have just been stuck with one piece. Nice. Yeah, this is like a real strange variant. I wasn't sure how well this was gonna work, but it's working out surprisingly well. Yo, here's what's blowing my mind right now, Travis.
Go ahead.
Let me just get eyes on Gigi really quick. I haven't seen her for a while. I'm a little concerned, and then I'll tell you what's blowing my mind. Here's my balcony, fam. Gigi. Jessima. Gigi Moy. Gigi. Good sweet girl. Good sweet girl. Gigi is a good sweet girl. Gigi got stung on the paw by a bee, and now she has a little white spot. Something was blowing my mind, and now. Oh, yo! I can't believe how expensive it is for me to fly from Bosnia to America, and how cheap it is for me to fly from America. It's costing me more or less as much for Alma and I both to fly to China one way as it is for me to fly back to the US. That's crazy. Dum dum da dum.
I read something about why China has cheaper flight. I'm interested in that too.
Oh yeah, please do. I know that sometimes, like if you're in China, the reason is because they have like a lot of like budget airlines that aren't necessarily quality and safe. But I mean, I would imagine that that goes for more or less any budget airline. You know, if it's like you can pay $50 and go here, and it's like a far, far away, you're like going to another country, I always have some general like safety concerns. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with like the flight paths. Hey, you have one of those big blue tarps, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head what the dimensions are?
Not of mine, but they have them in like a lot of dimensions.
Uh-huh. With the one that you have currently, do you think that you would be able to fit 2 hammocks under it?
I mean, depending on how the trees are set up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because a bug. I bought a bug net for 2 hammocks.
Okay.
So I mean, like Alma and I are gonna find 2 trees that are like a relatively okay distance from one another. We'll put it around us both. Ideally, obviously the woods are gonna do whatever they want.
Do you have the same tarp, or is that what you're asking? Like,
Oh,
what do you mean?
I have a tarp of my own that works for one. I haven't tried it out on 2 yet, so I don't know if it's going to be big enough. So I was thinking of getting a blue one, so that.
I mean, they come in all different sizes. I know other people have gotten bigger ones than I have.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to have to get a gigantic one if I don't have to. You know, they get real bulky. They're not the most fun thing to transport. I'm hoping Perfect World, the tarp I already have, works. Gravis sent me a picture of his water filter.
Yeah.
Oh, happy day.
Yeah.
How's the spring up at MangoTown Manor 2?
It's good. It's
Very
it's-
good. Yeah, I mean, I remember it being real deep last time we went up there. Oh man, they had to take Gigi's temperature yesterday at the vet.
Yeah.
Gigi was like, "You get that shit away from my ass." She was not happy. They had to have 2 people to hold her down and like forcibly measure her temperature. My other favorite thing is when Gigi sees flies. Gigi will chase flies like around the entire house. It makes me wish that I just had like a lifetime supply of flies in a box. I can like pull one out of the box at a time. Endless entertainment.
about this. Here. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, weird.
Oh, no. Oh, I messed up. No.
Yeah, except
I
that,
mean, I have less, yeah. But,
I mean, no, I mean, like, you're technically winning right now, aren't you?
yeah, but I was trying to keep that one, like,
Yeah, totally.
and I thought I was trying to set up a way to, like, either get you to jump in or, but,
You and me both. You and me both.
oh.
Ooh, ooh. No. All right, fam. There's still a chance. Never stop believing in yourself. No.
Okay.
No. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and call that there. That was anti-breakthrough. It's like breakthrough, but in reverse. Stay tuned if you're watching, because we're going to be playing some chess next. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for a live stream. Peace.